everybody. My name is Token D Rock here with another stream. Hopefully, all of you are having a wonderful day. Overall, crypto market cap sitting at $968 billion. Bitcoin dominance at 40.0%. ETH dominance at 17.4%. Bitcoin is sitting just below 20,100 as we speak. ETH just under 1360, BNB inching up to 300, sitting right now at 295. Cardano at 43 cents, Solana $34, Matic at 84 cents. We can see that Bitcoin has been bleeding a little bit here in the past hour or so, past few hours. Um, we are facing some major resistance roughly right around 20,375 or 380, upwards closer to 21,000. Don't know how far this resistance goes, but we do have a ascending triangle forming right now. We'll see if these candlesticks or these candles negate this ascending triangle in the short term, but things are not looking too good. If this ascending triangle plays out, um, has I believe it's a 34% chance to dump and then a 66% chance to rally to the upside. So, but we'll see. I mean, it looks like Bitcoin is bleeding a little bit as of right now. Maybe it's cooling off from its little rally here in the past few days, but or maybe it's just consolidating. Time will tell. Over in the EU, they're announcing new sanctions on Russia, banning all Russian Bitcoin wallets and accounts from interacting with EU service providers. Another blow to Russians as a whole. Uh, Not to mention, the EU will be requiring Bitcoin wallet providers to provide KYC and new landmark legislation. KYC, as we all know, is more regulation and such. It's arguably arguably this is not good, and we're finding here that this actually may not be true. Supposedly there is no landmark new legislation or whatever. But if this is true, not good. Not good. Headed over to Africa and Namibia. Central bank says cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin can be accepted for payment. Global adoption is rising behind the scenes while we are experiencing a bear market. Binance receiving approval to operate in Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstanians will be able to transact over on the Binance app. Very cool. South Korea arrests Terra's head of general affairs for fraud and market manipulation. Uh, you know what? I'm not even that bet. I'm not even that mad that they went after this guy, because reality is, uh, people over at Terra screwed a lot of people over. A lot of people had a lot of money invested in Terra, and I think it's for the better that the founders like Do Kwon and the head of general affairs, anybody who was associated with market manipulation or fraud, needs to go to jail or needs to be punished at the very least. South Korean prosecutors freeze an additional $39 million worth of Bitcoin and crypto reportedly owned by Terra founder Do Kwon. Whenever we see this, I'm a little skeptical. Like when they're going after someone and they seize supposedly their assets or whatever. Uh, could it really just be somebody else's assets? And they're like, "Look, we're doing this for a good cause. We're going after this guy." Blah blah blah. Like if the shoe fits, more or less. I don't know. I'm always skeptical, but if this is true, um, good, because I'm sorry, but Mr. Do Kwon, you do not deserve um, most of this money. You are a fraud to an extent. Japan's prime minister says the country plans to invest in NFTs and metaverse services. Rather news coming out of Japan. I'm curious as to see where this goes. Going to see some IPs from launch as NFTs and to be included in the metaverse. That'd be pretty crazy. Maybe Godzilla, a few other famous Japanese IPs might show up as NFTs and in the metaverse in years to come. It's very cool with that. NASDAQ is waiting for more regulatory clarity and institutional adoption before launching a Bitcoin exchange, according to Bloomberg. And the truth is, the markets are pumping right now. We are having a little rally, but rallies aren't uncommon in a bear market. Equity markets are going to squeeze just high enough to convince people it's the start of a new bull market, aren't they? I think Dylan LeClaire is on the money with this one. Again, I think it's kind of a fake out. I think things are going to pump short term here in the month of October, just before midterms, to give people the impression that the economy is recovering. Meanwhile, we will see more rate hikes from the Federal Reserve, which will send the markets tumbling further downwards. So be cautious. If you have a dollar cost average strategy, hold steady, just keep up with your strategy, maybe save a little bit more money for if things crash further. But again, we'll see. More than half of CEOs consider workforce reductions over the next 6 months. Again, not a sign for workers, people that are employed. They may be unemployed. And according to them, per Market Watch, remote workers may be the first to go. So those of you who refuse to return to the office, fortunately, more than half of CEOs are considering to lay you off first. So be careful. Just something to watch out for. GE lays off 20% of its U.S. onshore wind workforce. Again, massive layoffs happening here in the next few months. Probably going to experience at least a year of pain, if not way more than that, maybe 2 years. Again, not trying to be pessimistic, but just trying to be realistic, you guys. Breaking news: the Swiss National Bank is following the situation at Credit Suisse closely. Things are getting real now. Again, all these banks are watching each other because second a big bank defaults on its debts, we probably will see some sort of cascade effect with other banks. So again, something to be wary, something to pay attention to. Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, and now also UBS. UBS credit default swaps hit decade high after Credit Suisse out. Again, they're all watching one another. Once one of them falls, the other ones are more than likely in jeopardy because birds birds of a feather flock together. Just in around 90% of the world's central banks are exploring CBDCs, Atlantic Council data reveals. With all the inflation and massive money printing that governments have done around the globe, CBDCs are on the minds of central banks as traditional dollars, euros, pounds, and all of that will be waning into waning into non-existence, or at least the physical form. So that is what banks are looking at right now. In other news, we have North Korean jet fighters and bombers fly in formation as they conduct drills, prompting South Korean Air Force units to scramble jets in response to this. North Korea fires another ballistic missile as U.S. aircraft carrier returns to East Sea. Is this a sign for troubling times ahead? Are we going to enter World War III potentially? Is North Korea going to act out in defiance and maybe start something? I don't know. Shell executive says Europe to face worse winter next year than this one. So it looks like people are kind of projecting a good year into the future. This winter alone is going to be pretty bad for Europe, but supposedly um, people are projecting that Europe will face even a more brutal winter in 2023 and 2024. So again, not looking good. Russian's foreign ministry says if Nord Stream's owner is excluded from investigation, means there's something to hide there. Um, all the evidence more or less points to the U.S. Um, messing with the pipeline one way or another via special forces. Um, Again, not looking good on that front. And we had Jim Cramer from MSNBC talking about how there's no likelihood that Putin would use nuclear weapons, while Putin may test underwater nuke 150 times stronger than the Hiroshima bomb near the Ukrainian border, maybe to send a signal to Western powers / NATO that he's not effing around. Just in, OPEC Plus agrees major cut of 2 million barrels a day. This is not good. Again, we are in a massive energy crisis. This is going to stifle supply even further, which is going to drive prices higher because the reality is the demand for gas is still rather high. I think the demand will diminish somewhat if these massive layoffs happen because less people will be driving to and from work, meaning they will have less of an economic output, meaning they will need to drive around less to and from work, to do groceries, etc., whatever it may be. That if you don't have a job, you're probably not going to be driving around a bunch, especially when gas is like $5-6 a gallon. Um, Biden's on track to practically empty our strategic oil reserves to get Democrats elected in November. Canceling the Keystone Pipeline was a history book level screw up. So Biden is essentially emptying our strategic oil reserves as of right now in an effort to more or less bring down the price of gas, because if there's more oil out in the market, price per barrel does go down a little bit, but it's kind of funny, they create all these issues, all these problems, but then act like they have the solution. I don't think this is the solution. I don't think depleting the strategic petroleum reserve is really a great idea, but that's just my opinion. Um, and now, the White House is saying it's clear that OPEC Plus is aligning with Russia. Biden admin concerned about gas prices rising ahead of elections. Again, that's why they're depleting they're selling off the strategic petroleum reserve. And you know what? U.S. intends to ease sanctions against Venezuela, allowing Chevron to resume oil production again. They're nervous. They're worried about the red wave that may be coming here next month in the United States. Are we going to see the House flip? Are we going to see the Senate flip? Time will tell, but people in power right now are a bit shaky, a bit nervous. And this is exactly what I've been saying to most of my friends. They're like, "Oh, gas has come down a bit," and I told them, I'm like, just wait. After the midterms, gas prices are gonna go up. I just have a feeling. I think Chicagoland area, I'm gonna project $6 to $7 where I live right now. It's about 460, 470. I could see gas for sure going to $6 to $7 here, which means in the city might be $8 or $9. Again, uh, not good. 5 IRS employees stole COVID relief funds for Gucci shoes and trips to Las Vegas. Now imagine what 87,000 IRS agents will do. Yeah, and not to mention these IRS agents will have AR-15s, basically military gear, to knock down your door and make sure you pay your taxes like a good boy or girl. Last little thing before we wrap up today's stream. After the CDC objected, ICANN won a lawsuit which compelled the CDC to turn over vSafe COVID vaccine injury data. The data is rather shocking. It shows 7.7% required medical care after vaccination, and 25% had serious side effects. And it's amazing how so many people were like, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you're worrying about nothing. Just take the jab. Just save grandma. You're only doing it. Um, you're being a selfish piece of shit if you're not taking the jab, etc. Blah blah blah." But here we're finding out, oh well, there's actually reason to be skeptic behind taking these vaccines. Why were so many people skeptical? Oh, it's because they had uh, you know, family members and friends who had side effects on first hand experience with that. I know a few people personally that one guy has headaches all the time. Another guy complains about his neck being stiff, like he can't move it properly. I know several people who got really, really sick after, I believe, the third booster that they received, or maybe it might have been the second. But overall, it's crazy how people are gaslighted into taking a medical procedure that they didn't want to willingly take. But that about does it for today's stream, you guys. We'll cover some more crypto news tomorrow. We'll see where Bitcoin sits. We can see that it is dumping um, rather rather significantly here on the one chart. Right now it's sitting at 19.9. It looks like we're going to be more or less revisiting this line of support right around 19,800. Is going to dump further to maybe 19,300. And again, this is more or less the region in which Bitcoin topped out in late 2017, early 2018. So that doesn't hold. You better expect a $16,000 Bitcoin. But again, we'll see how things sit tomorrow morning, right around the same time. Until then, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the streams. Like and subscribe. Hit notification bell to be notified if you're over on YouTube for when we stream next. Share with your friends, share with your family. Let's get this content out there. Let's make some people aware of what's going on around the globe. But until tomorrow, guys, take care and